Was I the only one who kept thinking of Into the Woods?
Hello and welcome back to this episode of Read Play Game, where we look at table.
Serious.
Well, we're recording now. Sorry, we had to do the intro and then
part
we'll
of the episode.
I figure if at this point they know what the routine is, but let's include the.
The point of a podcast is you're supposed to make it accessible to a degree to every incoming audience member, even if they haven't listened to. We say you can skip them.
We can say we can skip them.
I personally only listen to the game episodes.
I only listen to the intros when
We
they're
gotta
like.
start.
You don't listen to the podcast. I know you don't. Actually, you probably do. I'm sorry. I don't know.
I listen to the plays, but the reads and the games.
You're like, I was there.
Goblin, I listened to all of them
it
because that was such fond memories.
Emma listens to the game ones a lot.
Yeah,
Nerd.
it just makes it's like if I don't know. I was listening to the game episodes on the plane rides because there have been so many plane accidents recently, and I was like, I need to fall asleep. I'm just hanging out. We're just hanging out.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Read Play Game, the podcast where we look at role-playing games from every side of the table. I am the rules lawyer, and I played Oreo this week in Wanderhome.
Hi, I'm Emma. I played Pip the mouse in Wanderhome.
Hi, I'm Anish, and I helped run the game.
I'm Tori, and I played Lala.
I'm Margot, and I played Cass.
La 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 la. Okay, we do need to make a video of the la 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 la. The okay. Y'all know that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, it was a big trend, and we should do it. Okay, continue.
You're our TikTok ambassador. For people tuning in for the first time, this is the first of three parts. Nope, this is for the third one. For people tuning in for the first time, this is the third episode of 3 parts, which is
going to be more than 3.
Our game discussion episode. 3 parts meaning like the style of episode.
Sure.
Just started again.
This is where hold on, I got it. Where we discuss
this is good.
So if you're tuning in for the first time, you've tuned in the worst possible episode because this is our absolute worst episode we've ever recorded. But I hope you have a really good time. I'm already predicting that.
Troika
energy
vindicated. Troika vindicated.
Shut the fuck up.
The energy we are entering this space with is fucking awful, and I'm not doing anything to get rid of it. So this is the game discussion episode. Basically, I usually have a little thing that I read. I don't know where it is, and I don't feel like looking it up. We discussed the game we just played. If you didn't listen to the last couple episodes, you're missing out on a lot of good stuff, and you're going to be really confused. But despite that, we say that you can listen to this episode alone if you want. I mean, without listening to the other ones. You can listen to them with people, too.
You can be alone.
You can be alone.
That is an option.
In fact, listen to it alone. Don't listen to it with a friend. Listen to it alone and send it to that friend.
So then you can send it and we get more
multiple
downloads.
listeners and downloads.
You honestly should just record one of those that you can shove in front of each.
But I like saying it. It's so cute.
You're so good at it too.
Oh my god!
So we played a really beautiful, wholesome game.
We're doing this. Because we played a wholesome game. We're instituting a new thing. It's paper plate awards for every game we play. You get the meanest one. You get the mean paper plate. Because you've been mean to everybody.
So is this the vibe that you were expecting us to have while playing Wanderhome, Anish?
Did it build your character and increase your patience?
No.
Did it make you laugh?
Yes.
There we go.
How are we doing?
I think we're
just tired. Is that it?
It's like playing games late at night.
I loved that game. I think we're just silly.
I thought it was great. Yeah.
I had a great time. The thing is, my character is very like so sometimes I didn't really feel like I was derailing anything, but it did feel like I was responding like in character when sometimes it would be like
I feel like I had a similar sort of vibe because my character was kind of along that line as well. I am curious though. I have a question for you, Tori. Are you so? I feel like generally you you like to some of
the
your
fuck is this about to be?
I feel like generally when there's more rules in a game, you like it to be lighter. But in this case, it seems like the rules were a lot looser and less strict on things, kind of more ambiguous. But it did seem like you wanted a little bit more structure. It seemed like you wanted some roles at some point. So I'm curious about that sort of dissonance.
That is.
Oh, you picked up on that?
I thought the same thing. Yeah.
About me?
Yeah.
I was a little hungry for roles just because, I don't know, and I hate to be that player that just like stares at the GM like, okay, what now? But this game was interesting because the great part about it is it's kind of open to whatever you and your friends want to spend your time on. But the hard part of it is it's open to whatever you and your friends want to spend your time on. You know what I mean? Where like we get to the lantern place and I'm like, okay, what are we looking for? What are we doing? And it's like, oh yeah, we don't have like a central quest. We're just like, I don't know. So yeah, I did struggle with that a little bit. Especially because I was trying to be a character that maybe wasn't trying to steer the ship too much. But I found myself like metagaming and directing myself in the fact where it's like, okay, I need to wrap this up. I need to whatever, like, maybe didn't fully give into the conversational nature that this game could lend itself to. But I'm sorry it was apparent, and I hope I didn't throw the...
I wouldn't say it was a problem. I was just curious because it seemed to... I just wanted to hear what you were feeling.
I was hungry for roles.
Yeah, this was everybody's first like token-based game, right?
Totally token-based, yeah.
Totally token-based. I think it's kind of a hard adjustment point, I think, if you're coming in from different role-playing games, because like Belonging Outside Belonging, kind of the system it's based off of, you have like this set of things that you can do to gain tokens and then spend tokens, and like it's kind of like if you aren't like reading that constantly, you're kind of role-playing naturally, you kind of forget that, oh, like half of the time, like y'all were already doing things that automatically gave you tokens, and I would just like silently in the background just add them or not.
That's awesome that you were doing that, because I totally was not even thinking about tokens, and then I like looked back at the list afterward, and I was like, oh shit, we were earning tokens that whole time.
Yeah, I was watching it.
And I think you guys were playing the game. It just at times like what's interesting with the mechanics themselves is that since we're so used to the dice and like being able to be like, all right, now I do this. What happens? If you're so conditioned to the idea of like what happens and you aren't used to being in the driver's seat for that, it can be a pretty interesting adjustment. And I'm interested to see how this would have gone if we had a no GM, if we just all kind of gone together through that. Because I think it does give it a different dynamic when everybody's like on the same page. What are we all doing?
I do think it's very interesting to compare it to that perspective coming in from you know, that more role-oriented, that more structure-oriented, I guess, mindset that you came in with, Tori, because especially, I don't know, I just wrote actually a Twitter thread about this, about how I wish that, and this is a common topic of conversation, but that Dungeons & Dragons, a lot of people do wish that Dungeons & Dragons wasn't the most, like, popular and more, like, most well-known game, especially because of the context of Wizards of the Coast and the fact that, you know, there's just so many games that are actually much, whether it's
more beginner friendly,
whether it's just more like consistent, more logic, and there's definitely appeals to D&D. You know, D&D does have certain structures. I know there's disagreement over Brennan Lee Mulligan's comments on like what it provides to combat as a system, which we don't have to get into right now, but it does really provide you with an excess of rules, not even an excess, but it provides you with rules that do work. But the problem with it being the dominant thing is I wouldn't even have a problem with there being a dominant game, like one game that most people know. It's just that one paints such a specific picture of the experience that I think it's tainted every single person in a way. Not even like that's necessarily a bad thing, like to be tainted by it, because it is it's everyone's introduction to a thing. But I just wish that it was a different game, I guess. I wish that the most popular game was something else. I wish, honestly, Wanderhome, I think, would be an interesting one to be the most popular, because I think that it would come from a perspective of...
Wanderhome feels a lot closer to childhood imagination games of, like, you're going and then, I don't know. Like, you're like, well, I have water powers, and I'm going to use my water powers. And then your friend's like, oh, I have fire powers. And I'm like, oh, great. Well, how about we go to an ice city? And they're like, yeah, but there's also a volcano. You know, like where you're doing that truly collaborative.
And just like that, building. I want to visit there. That's Wanderhome.
The fact there's no violence, too. I'm serious.
Sure.
That was also something that just... I guess, like you say, I feel like I'm not primed for when I think of role-playing.
Because that is, for sure, that is the D&D effect.
I think that makes it really difficult for, like, somebody just jumping into the game. And I think Wanderhome, I feel like the game does acknowledge that in some aspects. I'm curious, now that we're talking a little bit more about the game and the world, and talking more a bit about the nonviolence, I think it was you, Jess, that mentioned at the beginning, like you were interested in challenging that notion at the beginning when reading the rules. Like, can a nonviolent world truly exist? And kind of leaning into those themes to see the weaknesses of that sort of overarching claim. How did you all view the relationship with the game and violence?
I thought that specifically Jess's goal with that came to a really satisfying conclusion with the snacks sequence of, like, post conflict. There's this urge of, like, I don't know if I will be secure, so let me take as much as I can. And seeing Oreo start to challenge that was really a fun sequence for me of, like, this world is kind right now, but Oreo was acting as if it wasn't. You know, Oreo was... Yeah. And Cass were approaching it from, like, well, what if it's going to get taken away from me? And it was the world again and again proving, like, it can be kind. You just have to meet it there. And I thought that was really cool. And especially how Oreo, like, came around with the wish at the end.
The stick moment, too.
The stick moment.
Mm-hmm. I think it's... kind of combining a lot of the stuff that, everyone had been saying. One of the things I liked about it, and, at this point, we've done several games that don't. This is the interesting point, because earlier, Tori, when we were talking about, like, wanting roles or whatever, I do definitely think it's a fun shift to how we traditionally think about a game, because it's kind of what makes a game, because this has rules, but they're very loose and it's very more in our hands in terms of creating the story we want to make. And I think that idea of not having violence is so fascinating, because you look at games like that we did, The Ground Itself.
I was just thinking it reminds me of The Ground Itself.
Exquisite Biome. Yeah, Exquisite Biome. But, like, even those games we don't commit the violence, as characters, because, we're not the characters, but they still can have conflict. Like, we had in Exquisite Biome, the cactuars throwing the moles down onto the cactus, that kind of stuff. I think that idea of a peaceful world not only, I think, challenges you to act slightly differently maybe than you normally would in games like that, but I think it adds this light and levity to it that I really liked. And it was very wholesome and good. And I think, I don't know.
It's interesting that you say light and levity, because yes, it adds, for me, it's that sense of safety, because this was a pretty dark game. Like, we were...
Sorry,
no, like, it was lovely. Like, we were exploring very difficult things, but that it's going to be safe because the game... makes it that way.
Difficult, I guess, better term than light and levity was hope.
Yeah.
Kind of this eternal hope I think. Like, there is light in the hope. Like, there's a lot of darkness, but no matter how much darkness there is that light at the end of the hole in the mountain.
Yeah.
I wasn't kidding when I said, was I the only one thinking of Into the Woods?
Oh, yeah. What do you mean by that?
I wish to go to the festival. We were going to a festival, and then at the end, it literally was like, I wish.
I thought of Tangled.
I thought of, I mean, that, yeah, but I actually thought of the game Night in the Woods. Does anyone know that game?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was just it might have been the music you were using really reminded me of that specifically, but also the animal characters and the way that Night in the Woods is a game that is pretty much you're just walking around as little animals and talking. There's not really a lot of there's exploration and talking parts, but you're this maybe 20-year-old girl who is returning home from college after just dropping out and kind of coming back to her hometown and seeing how things have changed with there's a coal mining industry that is it's a great game. Would highly recommend. It's just kind of about that stage of your life, young adulthood. But anyway, that's really what it reminded me of just going around and talking to different people and reflecting on things and kind of understanding the world through people, but I guess through animals.
I think after a year of doing this podcast in which we explore RPGs that are not D&D, I am still finding myself uncoupling from the classical training like we were talking about from those games. And Wanderhome was a big departure from that. I think there's a lot as a game master in terms of tools that I was given to help at least set up things. I'll share on the big worksheet or the big Roll20 document we have, there are natures for each place that we went to that describe the types of things that are there and the place, the things that the place can always do, and the seasons and the traits of kith that are just around. And it's helpful to give those kinds of things as tools, but again, I think it can be a little intimidating for a game master to jump in to a game like this because it's so different than maybe a game that somebody's played before. But I would highly recommend people try it because I found it was really fun to just see where y'all would take things. And yeah, the peacefulness of it all.
I love this game. I think that this falls into also, I think Tori and I are diametrically opposed foes in the type of games that we really, really enjoy. Because I think that I really like when there's that co-author aspect. I'm thinking about Jamais Vu. I'm thinking about, what was the other one? It was mostly Jamais Vu. But this felt of the moments where you gain a token if you describe something happening in the world and you just have to put it out there.
That's a great way to describe it, co-authoring.
You want somebody to author it for you.
Yeah.
You wanna live in an authored story, which I understand. You kind of have to take yourself out a little bit to describe something in the world.
I thought the Reed episode was last time.
But that doesn't, yeah, but that's very exciting to me with a game like this. And yeah, I do think when we play these games, I worry that I steer the ship too much because I really like the co-authoring games. So I think I should have been utilizing some of those special rules more of the what do you think? Which I was trying to do more at the end, but I got lost in the sauce in the middle.
That's fine. I'm curious because I love the playbooks in this game, but I was just handling a bunch of other characters. What did y'all think of your individual playbooks?
That was me screaming. I love my playbook.
The art is fantastic.
Oh, the art's beautiful.
At a minimum.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
And a lot of fun stuff to choose from. Let me pull it up actually, just so I can.
It does feel like a very cohesive. I don't know. It's nice when the art feels like it matches the content very well. It's very what's the word for that?
Cohesive,
but specifically.
It's like an overture. It sets the scene a little.
A clear direction.
That would be illegal.
art direction. Yes, that's the word.
No, it's not the word I'm looking for, but...
Guess I'll kill myself.
I loved playing the veteran. I think the veteran is so juicy. I was looking at the things that I could do a decent amount. I'm more stuck to some of the similar, like I used say I don't do that anymore a lot. I leapt to my feet quite a few times. I don't know, like I tried to inform what I was doing very much with the some things you can always do. Also that last one of the veteran being able to unsheath your blade and immediately kill the person in front of you, then remove your character from the game. That having that over every interaction informed my decisions so much.
The sword of Damocles.
Truly.
I think it's probably one of my favorite features of the game because it is
considered it.
When?
I literally considered like mercy killing this poor old man.
Jeddah.
Because I was like, I'm in a lot of pain.
Oh.
He's obviously in a lot of pain. Wow. Is it gonna get better for him? I don't know. But then I didn't. And I wished for peace for him instead.
Oh, yeah.
But that was the closest that I got to it.
Fuck.
That would have
changed
everything.
I forgot to narrate that. I had a thing. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Tell us now after the credits have rolled.
No, I just wanted to include a detail. After the little star person disappeared, I imagined that it visited
Yeah.
Jeddah.
Oh, Jeddah.
Just to say goodbye.
And it took him
Not necessarily.
into that long night.
Yeah, they
Do not go gently.
Do not go gentle.
Rage.
Rage.
Playbooks.
I loved the Fool, and what I really like are some of the options they give you. So for like example, you can pick an animal and they've got like parrot or a star-nosed mole, but then they also have like a goofy animal or an oblivious animal. So I love that they provide some options, but also just like the general like thing that you're looking for. The fact they have some things for you to pick your look. So like the pet ant came from that. The polka dot bindle came from that. So
fun.
I enjoyed this playbook more than I do most, which is a low bar.
I liked the playbooks in general. I mean, I definitely enjoyed mine. I think that it really informed my character, especially with But the interesting thing about these playbooks is that it really kind of it's what I feel. It's a similar feeling to what I get when I see like a Powered by the Apocalypse, like the Monster of the Week, for example, playbooks, where it really feels like it's breaking the concept of playbooks down into its bare essentials, where you can see sort of because like I feel like when you play a more dense game, there's so many like specific mechanics that you get that it's kind of like, okay, well, this is the thing this kind of character can do. This is the thing this kind of character can do. And when you really think about it, and when you've played a game enough, you start to realize that every single playbook in every game is the same as the other playbooks. Like even with D&D, for example, like you look at a wizard and like a fighter and you think they're entirely different, but the game is designed around the action economy. So it's interesting when you see things like this where it is broken down into the same sort of structure, because you do see how those are like every single playbook honestly is it's more of a table of suggestions like this is, every playbook is just a table of ideas, because that's the concept of classes and playbooks, where it's like you already want to play this kind of character, so all we have to do is provide you a little bit of a spark. A lot of times this spark is what it does for you is it links your idea, the kind of vibe you want, into the existing world. So for example, with this, what's the world called? Haith?
Haith. Mm-hmm.
Haith was, I had this idea for this character, or Emma had this idea specifically. And this character kind of came up, and it could have existed in any context. But what the playbook did was it allowed it to exist in the context of Haith. Like I could have created this character, I could have written down all these things about it, but like the list of options, I know it does pretty much say, it probably says in the playbook, I assume, that you can come up with your own stuff. But like the suggestions that it provides tell you exactly what role your character is actually going to have. So what the world is going to look like. So it introduces you to that world while also guiding you through that process so that you do interact with the game on the level that it wants you to. Does that make sense, what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
And so I think that that's really a cool part of these playbooks specifically.
Yeah, they're very well thought out.
But you, Margot?
In terms of my thoughts on the playbook?
Yeah, on your
The
playbook.
Vagabond.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with everything about the art and everything. I remember when you shared this playbook, not just the Vagabond, but the general Wanderhome playbook with me, I think it was 2 years ago. Because
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. The file, because I had for real, I had the Wanderhome playbook in my folder on my desktop, in my TTRPG folder. Yeah, because I downloaded it actually 3 years ago, almost in July 11th, 2022. Is when you sent it to me.
Know that I've been waiting for you.
I'd also like to, not that this is important, this is just an actually moment, the distinction between playbook and handbook here. Playbook being
right. Yeah. No. I know.
Rules lawyer.
Sorry.
Rules
lawyer. It don't matter.
I was
really embarrassing. It took you this long.
I was just bringing it up to say that when you recommended Wanderhome to play 3 years ago, I remember looking at the game and the different, archetypes that you could play and thinking it was really interesting. And I think one of the things that you said, Jess, that I also liked and agree with is I think a good RPG uses its characters and the classes it has in it in a way to not only give the players freedom, but to inform the theme of the RPG through those characters. And I think that can be very well seen in this, specifically in the way stuff like the veteran, all of the, there's some things you can always do with the veteran and sheathing the blade, because that kind of emphasizes, if you do this, your play is over. But it adds that element of, it adds that theme to it and informs the character in a way that doesn't restrict you as a player, but kind of enhances and informs your capacity to do things. For me, specifically with the Vagabond, the thing I liked about it was, I don't know, it's interesting because I feel like there are many ways you can take it. That idea of the criminal on the run, the idea of this character who's committed some kind of crime that they need to atone for. And I tried to have that inform the way I approached, interactions, kind of distance from people.
You did a really good job of that.
Thank you.
The guilt was palpable.
But no, but it's fun because it's like be somewhere you're not supposed to be, have something you're not supposed to have, like, all the food, things like that. It's interesting because these, I mean, like with you, with Emma, with the veterans, like repeat a calming phrase. Like that's a very informative thematic thing that helps you, but it's so open-ended that you can fill it with whatever you want. I guess tying to another game we played, something like Heart the City Beneath, those classes I think also really tied well with the theme. But I know one thing that some people I think bumped up against was the idea that some of the things that those classes had in terms of the beats, the beats, and I think some other stuff was slightly too restrictive, maybe. I think you, Tori, mentioned it. I think you too, Jess. And so I think the thing that Wanderhome did really well was having those aspects that some things you can always do. This is not a thing you have to do, but it's something really that informs and helps you, gives you a prompt to build your character well. That I thought was good.
Yeah. And I, like looking at the list of things specifically, when I was building my character, I never would have thought to put like one of the options for the Ragamuffin, which I know is similar to what Tori's character had, is Knack, a small luminescent god that once dwelled in the center of the holiest shrine in all of Haith, as an option of a thing you carry with you. I wouldn't have thought to put that in my little kid's fucking pocket. I would have put like candy in there or something, like that shows you that this is a world that you're going to be exposed and interacted to that in that capacity, even if you don't choose that option. You know, I didn't really want to do that specifically for me, but like I just did simple shit, but like it's in the world.
And I think that I might be wrong, but I feel like I noticed most playbooks, if not all playbooks, have something like that, but not like my blade could have been connected to a specific deity and like but which I didn't pick. Like these types of games, I'm thinking Heart, Jamais Vu, they require you to like insert yourself into the world fully to find those threads and like really, really plug in.
And as somebody reading the book a lot, there is a lot of story to dig into if you are curious enough to find it. There's a lot of interconnected parts of different playbooks and like different recurring characters like the North Wind God, the King of the Floating Mountain, that are like parts of these characters if you choose to look at them. So it's very interesting. Like the pink orchid as a symbol and like those types of things. Those are all things I kind of plucked from the playbook and the rule book itself.
I don't think we we've talked a lot about playbooks. We didn't talk about Anisha's GMing.
Hey,
that was
always
crazy.
I think your GMing fit this game very well because I think I think that this game has a sort of, obviously it goes for like a chill vibe, but like it also has like that sort of cosmic and profoundness to it that it wants, and I think that your GMing style always finds a sort of
Why are you staring like that? Is it the noise?
No, I'm just trying to accept a compliment.
Oh, aw.
I'm sorry, it's so loud. You always do, no matter what game we're playing. You know, what else have you GM'd? Masks? Did you?
Yeah.
That's the only thing you GM'd, right?
Yeah. The second one. Woo. Ever. This is Tanisha's second time GMing. No, that's true? A lie, Tori. It's a lie. /J/.
Tori, you were there for Dread, right?
Nope. No. I wasn't part of the friend group yet because I hadn't completed my application.
So moving on. I forgot. Like
we were throwing praise on Anish for your fantastic.
In Masks, you did that too. You know, you had like that comic book style, fitting a lot of profound descriptions into a small space. You know, you in like each panel, you had a lot of text, and you were giving the exposition. I don't know. I think they're similar.
You look terrified. I'm gonna have to find like a video or something to show our audience just how hard it looks like it is for you to accept a compliment.
Anish, I think the thing. I think the thing you do really well, that I've told you about this one-on-one, but aside from building a world and building tone and theme, I think the thing that I love the most about when you GM is you know how to give voice to NPCs. Like every single NPC in this, I thought was distinct. They had such fascinating characters and were very well-rounded in terms of how those characters were presented, and made me cry, both in the first session and in this one.
Wait, when did you cry the second one?
When it was with Jeddah, like that was
all the traumatized shit.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Trauma. You are really, really good at giving voice to these characters and in using them in a way that helps build the theme of the overarching narrative you're trying to create. And I think that is very impressive, and I love it.
Fatih? And I mean, even just in Masks, like Drip Isokane and Aiden the Noble, like I feel like they get mentioned like maybe, I don't know, once a week at the least. So yeah, I was also thinking of how great your NPCs are and distinctive they feel and really help build the world. And you're not afraid to go there, like in terms of
you went there.
In terms of like the first session with the shrine and the turtle, like if it feels like it's going to more of a deep, Like, let's actually build this moment-long conversation. You don't shy away from that, which I respect. I feel it's hard for me to kind of really give myself over to something like that. But I admire that for you, a role-playing game contains multitudes.
I do like when we have those moments with you where like we're just kind of goofing around, and then at some point, I don't even know that we realize it. We just kind of lock in.
Everything is load bearing. Every interaction is a load bearing interaction. It is all leading to the theme or the culmination of the story. Everything is important.
I was like, fuck, I'm a stupid little gecko, and you broke my stick, and then it became like a thing.
Like, this is like this is fucking real. That was crazy.
And I think if you all feel that way, again, the thing I will always reiterate is the reason I select games like this is because it fits with my style. And I think the game gives you a lot of tools to inform decisions and themes. Like Milky, when Milky broke the stick, Milky is an example of a Kith who's passionate. And the passionate Kith are full of intense and explosive emotions. And they can always say exactly what's on their mind and lose your temper and damage something important. So literally what I did was damage your stick. And that everything that followed was a natural result of us exploring the themes of the game. So half of the credit goes to y'all and half of the credit goes to the game. It's super.
Give yourself at least a third.
You conveniently.
And there's another.
And I didn't do anything.
And
how many halves is that? That's 3 halves.
And then 3 halves equals a bunch of tokens.
Wow.
Yeah, so many tokens. We all get a token.
Halves. Make a whole token.
Yay! Wanderhome.
I'm so excited to talk to Jay.
Yes, it'll be so fun. I'll speak very briefly on my inspirational touchstones for this game because they informed a lot about the way I thought about and built the feeling of Wanderhome. Again, I wanted to challenge the idea of peace, like true nonviolence in a game, and I just wanted to get as close to it as possible. And I think a great touchstone for that is like Ghibli films. Admittedly, I've not watched a lot of Ghibli films. I actually have only watched 2.
Which
ones? The Boy and the Heron and My Neighbor Totoro.
Crazy.
Fascinating.
2 to have watched.
Wild, yeah.
Chat.
But I think kill me.
Turn them up in the comments, chat.
Please do.
All those compliments we gave you before, gone.
It is my greatest shame that I carry with me.
No, because the fact that you're like, that's the touch point. Haven't seen them, kind of nailed it, you know?
Yeah.
I think what's interesting about those is that, like, I feel like nonviolence is a very present theme, but what's interesting about those is that doesn't mean there's an absence of conflict. Peace is never an absence of conflict for me. There's always there's always people wanting things and where people brush up against those, and then how people are dealing with the trauma of things that happen, I think is very interesting. Other things that were touchstones, I think musically and other just like vibe-based, like Breath of the Wild and then Wind Waker. Love those games.
Great.
Really, really fun and pastoral vibes. And a great anime that I watched that really informed the way I thought about the small and forgotten gods and just general vibes of like trauma and as it relates to spiritual stuff happening is the anime Mushishi. One of the best anime I've ever watched. Super good. It is like an anime where this one guy kind of explores like spiritual wrongs that are happening in an area, and it's essentially like an episode of House MD, but like
the way that Tori and I was perked up.
It's like House MD, but like the guy is solving spiritual issues that are happening in a village.
Okay, well,
and
is he
like
making
very
quips?
Peaceful.
Sorry.
He's not. Sadly, he's kind of just chill.
Well, then it's not like House MD.
Then it's not like House MD. I'm sorry.
I I was gonna say on that topic of like nonviolence or whatever, I feel I genuinely learn better problem solving skills and ways of engaging with the world from playing these kinds of games. Emma, I think it was Lasers and Feelings, where I was like, I really liked how you like told us what the consequences of our action would be, even though, and like gave us a chance to like consider it. And I don't know, just since I think you were like, oh yeah, it's like a gentle parenting approach. Like, it's really helped me. I don't know, see that there's like other possibilities in terms of how do you react and process information and stuff like that. Like it's so games like this are really cool. And while here's something my therapist said recently, our brain, there isn't a good or bad, there's just familiar and unfamiliar. And so this kind of game playing was unfamiliar. And so while it, I was a little out of depth in some points, I think it also helped me like whatever, learn new things, and that's how you grow.
Yeah.
And I think that's also something that sort of limitation helps make like that's where it thrives because of that. Because like you said, you're discovering sort of new avenues and solutions because of the style of game. I think it's the same as in Goblin Errands, the stats, the infinite and zero stats. Like these are things that are challenging you to change the way you're thinking about it and the way that you're approaching these problems.
Goblins was very familiar.
Yeah.
God,
did not have to change myself. Yeah.
Can we just be a fucking Goblin Errands or any
replay Gob?
Yay.
We have fun here.
We do have fun here.
I feel like we've talked so much, and we have so many good things to say about the game. Did y'all have any? Unless we don't have any other things, I wanted to pitch a final thing. Favorite PC moments that other players had that you loved.
PC?
Player character.
Politically correct.
Us.
PC, yeah.
Like it's like a woke game. Like DEI, sorry.
I touched on it. Actually, there were so many. I loved Lala's interaction with the old woman aardvark. I loved genuine, because there was the moment where you got it and your voice changed and you're like, we are using light and levity to grieve and to make like beauty out of pain. And I was like, that is the fool's character sheet. Like it like clicked really beautifully, and I was like, okay, and we're there. That was really cool.
My thought, as much as I loved horning in on Pip and Isaac.
Horning in.
Horning.
Wow. Literally.
Fujoing out, as they
Is it
say.
Fujoing or Fujoshuing?
It's you would be a Fujoshi.
So I'm Fujoshuing out.
No, you're Fujoing out.
Fuck. They're gonna get me for that in the
Did you say that earlier?
I said Fujoshuing out.
It's okay. We'll clip it so it's
gentle parenting.
Fujoing.
You don't pronounce the she.
As much as I loved the Isaac Pip, I honestly, it was like a small moment, but it was something that I was like, I hope this happens, was when we were doing our wishes and Oreo was like, I wish for more snacks. Like, I really love that the moments of profundity and like catharsis in Oreo's character were always within and through Oreo's eyes. It was never like, I don't know, just the fact that you were committed to this like childlike character made these moments feel very like authentic and like, I don't know, because you like stayed in it, and it's like this kid probably would just be like, I wish for a croissant or whatever.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite part, because we all were like getting very like descriptive in our emotional whatever. So I love that you kept it Oreo.
Wouldn't it have been funny if I just suddenly went like, Oreo wishes for a peaceful resolution between the nations of like
Breeze and
what? Heath.
It's a made-up word.
I'm tired. The second one that I was going to say was the whole snack endeavor.
That was pretty fun.
I liked the that it was funny and fun, and then also came around and tied into the themes. And I was like, they're just fucking around. And then I was like, oh no, this is part of it.
I really liked, Emma, how you sort of kept Pip. Pip felt very honest. Pip felt very, I could feel Pip's care, especially in the interactions with Oreo. Just I could feel that Pip was, like, I don't know, at every corner you did not forget the objective that you seemed to have, which was to prioritize Oreo and find a place for Oreo. And of course, I enjoyed that as a way to just, like, challenge that. But I liked that. I don't know. I really liked all those. I liked the way that you interacted with Oreo, especially compared to the way you interacted with the rest of the world. It's the classic, like the grumpy old veteran with
dad movies.
Yeah,
Last of Us.
Not even grumpy necessarily, but just there was a lot of care.
And thank God you ended up together. You were talking about looking for childcare. I was like, oh, please, no.
that I feel was the very, very much like that's a strong bond that is very important. That might not be like as overt necessarily, but it's I feel like pretty much what ties the whole group together.
I think Pip is one of the best characters you've done.
Ah, thanks.
And just because I think
that's why we hate lesbians.
What'd you say, Anish?
Anish said he's not a lesbian, and I said that's why he's the best, because we hate lesbians here.
No, just because I think you kept him so thematically consistent, and in terms of like the character was so consistent in every action. And talking about the interactions with Oreo, I thought were very beautiful. But specifically, the Jeddah. The Jeddah interaction I thought was absolutely stunning. And I know a lot of that was Anish speaking as Jeddah, but your reactions to it and the way in which you used that with your character, I thought was so organic and felt beautiful.
You also are willing to take it there where like I just can't resist that urge to like crack a joke or something, you know what I mean? But you really can like settle into it, which allows for some great emotional payoffs.
I just realized I miscalculated. I was like, I'm gonna balance it out so we all do each other, but then I realized I was leaving you with your own character, Margot. So
You flopped.
Fuck.
Well, Anish, do you have one?
I didn't want to talk about myself.
Well, that's why I was talking about the snack sequence too. Like, I didn't even think about it until we were talking here of your character having to like have something that they're not supposed to have, like those instincts being there the whole time. And I thought that from Pip's point of view, when at the end you asked if we trusted you, and Oreo and Lala are like, yes, of course. I was like, I think I said I trust you with the important stuff, because you're gonna lie. You're gonna lie and you're gonna steal, but like you are a good person. And that does, like, the bad things that you've done don't disqualify you from, caring for other people. But that was a crazy button on the end. That was cool.
I thought you were gearing up to...
I didn't think that you were gearing up.
Well, because how did the session start?
You thought Cass was gonna jump?
How did the session start?
Cass jumping towards the...
Oh, this session. I thought you meant the whole... Yeah, and I'm with you.
Because I felt the momentum. I was like, oh shit, it's about to happen. Same way I thought Jeddah had a bomb. See, it's like I can't get my mind out of the like...
Off the violence stuff.
You
Jeddah was
solved
like,
it
it's
again.
Tonight. In the crevice beside the... And alchemy bomb. Like, I was like, anyway. Anish, did you have a favorite interaction?
No, everything. I love
Who was
it.
your favorite NPC to play?
My favorite NPC, oh god, I loved so many of them. Probably Milky.
I was about to say Milky was crazy.
Milky was so good.
Milky got us in the tone.
Yeah.
From the beginning, we were like, "Oh, this is the world."
Yeah, it was kind of the 1-2 punch. Here's Wanderhome. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Yay.
Shall we? Figure out where we're wandering next?
Do we have a list?
I don't know.
Well, I was so excited that we're going to be playing that game that we just rolled.
Yes!
Wow.
That's going to be really
I'm
awesome.
thrilled.
Listeners, wish upon a star, and we will reveal the next game we're playing at a later date. We don't have it now, but strap in and close your eyes and wish.
We're just going to edit it in.
Is that what it's called?
Let Tori have this.
Thank you.
Okay.
Because by the time it might be months from now, we might forget. So now you have that sound bit. You're welcome.
You got that. Can I add a sound bit too?
Yeah, go.
Fuck you.
Said the fuck you guy.
Okay.
And that's
Thank you for us. You on the other side of the table.
My
fucking hell.
God.
Hello, it's been a while since I jumped in here. I'm not sure where in the episode I'm going to put this yet, since as you've probably noticed, this was a pretty chaotic one, but I wanted to come in and offer a little bit of clarity and to announce some very important information. First of all, be sure to tune into next week's episode for our exclusive interview with Jay Dragon, the creator of this game. We are so unbelievably lucky to have had the opportunity to meet with Jay, and if you thought this episode was goofy, you are not even ready for the vibe of this interview. It was truly delightful and also similarly chaotic, honestly. But, you know, we had an excellent time playing Wanderhome, and it only makes sense we'd have an excellent time talking to Jay as well. So look forward to that. Second, the game we'll be playing next time is Slug Blaster. It's a fun Forged in the Dark game, which is a kind of game I've wanted to do for a while in this podcast, and this one in particular is about interdimensional skating. We've already recorded all the episodes for that, and I promise it is a ridiculously cool game that we had a blast with. So, another thing to look forward to. Third, and a thing you don't even have to look forward to because it's available now, we finally launched a Patreon. We've joked about it and talked about it before, but we figured why the hell not? So we're offering several membership tiers that you can join to get special bonus content, including a monthly newsletter, bonus episode voting privileges, and much more. There's even a free tier if you just want to stay up to date. Plus, regardless of whether you join or not, you can join our Discord server, which is also brand new, and discuss our podcast and other games with other listeners, as well as the hosts themselves. But please do consider donating if you can. It would really mean a lot to all of us. We really love this podcast, and we're super happy with the community response to it. So we'd love to be able to keep providing high-quality content as much as we possibly can. You can find all of the tiers and information at patreon.com/readplaygamepod, which is also listed in our link tree, and I'm sure you'll be able to go to many of our posts and find it there too. So please, please, please consider giving us a little bit of money maybe. Thank you. I think that's it. Thank you very much for listening. Enjoy the rest of this episode, or enjoy waiting for the next one, depending on where I put this in the episode. Bye!